This review looks at a mobile version of the Sennebogen 875E port material handler by Ross Models. It comes in a large Sennebogen branded box which has some details about the real machine on it, and inside the factory sealed trays the model's protected by soft paper. Out of the box there's not much to assemble, you just need to add a tool to the end of the arm. And that's fairly straightforward because you offer it up and then you slide in a steel pin. You then connect up the loose hydraulic hoses and, oh dear, one has come off, so we'll need to re-glue that. And the hoses just tuck in to the tip of the arm. Starting with the undercarriage, there is some detailing, and the rubber wheels have a slightly shiny finish. There are hydraulic hoses running along the carrier, and there are metal handrails mounted on plastic walkways. The cab is reasonably detailed and there are clear controls modelled inside, and the external lights add detail. The support arm for the cab has got hydraulic hosing, and there are plenty of small graphics on the body of the machine. On the counterweight, the Sennebogen name is nicely represented, but the side walkways were not quite level on the review model. The hydraulics detailing on the boom is very good and it includes hydraulic connectors on the hoses. The orange peel grab is a realistic looking part, and the clamshell grab is metal and it also looks good. We've previously looked at the crawler track version of this model, but this wheeled version is slightly less robust, and although there is intricate linked steering on the axles, it's all a bit too loose and doesn't quite work with precision. But having said that, you can set the axles to steer at a moderate angle. Let's take a look and see how mobile this mobile machine is. And it rolls reasonably smoothly, but it does sway a little bit on its axles. The steering is a little bit loose, but if you set it, it makes a reasonable job of turning. To operate the machine you need to set the stabilisers and they just pull out, and you wind down the big pads that are mounted on screw threads. The operator can access the machine by climbing up the ladder and getting into the cab, and then for operating the machine and getting a good view, the operator can go for a nice ride. The cab elevator is stiff enough to hold any pose, and the range of movement is good because you can also set the cab right down on the ground. The model rotates reasonably well, although it does sway a little bit. And if we move on to the operation of the boom and the arm, then the operation of the hydraulic rams is stiff enough to hold a pose, but they're also very jerky rather than smooth. So as you can see, as the machine is extended out, it's not a silky smooth operation like the real machine would be. If we try the machine out at extended reach, it's not quite sure-footed, and that's because there's a degree of movement in the outrigger beams rather than them being completely rigid. This machine is used for grabbing out loads to or from ships, so let's have a look at the grab, and it swings both this way and that. It can also be rotated on its mounting. And if you want to use it to grab the sugar to put in your coffee, then the grab opens and closes. As an alternative, you can fit the orange peel grab and that also rotates on its mounting. And each of the individual tines can be opened and closed, and they've got enough stiffness to hold a load. This mobile version of the Sennebogen 875E is an interesting model, although the undercarriage is not quite as robust and sturdy as that on the tracked version of the model. The model has a fair amount of plastic, but it's not really obvious, and although the functionality is not the best, it does look very good when it's all properly set up, and for that it's highly recommended.